Alara Quinn stepped off the human transport and onto the polished surface of the Velari capital's landing platform. The sky above shimmered in hues of deep purple and gold, an ever-changing aurora that made the city feel alive. Towers of crystal and metal stretched into the clouds, reflecting light in angles that seemed impossible, yet entirely natural. The Velari Empire was famous for its beauty and its strict rules. Alara had read every report, every diplomatic briefing, but nothing could prepare her for the reality. She had been chosen as the human diplomat not for her rank, but for her courage, intelligence, and ability to remain calm in unpredictable situations. Today, those qualities would be tested in ways she could not yet imagine. Her escort, a tall Velari official named Tilarin, walked beside her, gliding with the elegance typical of his species. The Velari were taller than humans, with smooth, pale skin that shimmered slightly under certain lights. Their eyes were larger than humans, dark and reflective, giving the impression of deep thought and curiosity. Despite the official nature of her mission, Alara noticed their gestures, their pauses, the way they moved through the city with a quiet dignity. She understood that every detail mattered here. A wrong step, a poorly chosen word, could ruin months of careful diplomacy. "Your first meeting with Princess Lyra will be in the Hall of Reflection," Tilarin said. His voice was soft but carried authority. "It is customary for guests to demonstrate respect before speaking, observe, listen, and respond with honesty. The princess values clarity and courage above all." She took a deep breath, reminding herself that humans had faced far greater challenges. The Velari may be advanced and cautious, but humans had a history of confronting uncertainty with bravery. This mission was no different. The hall was immense. Its walls were made of a translucent crystal that reflected the city outside like a living painting. Every sound she made echoed softly, giving the room a sense of depth and mystery. Princess Lyra stood at the far end, observing silently. She was striking, even by Velari standards, with features that radiated intelligence and composure. Her hair was silver, flowing like liquid metal, and her posture was perfect, suggesting both grace and authority. Lyra's eyes, however, betrayed a faint curiosity. She had heard of humans, their unpredictability, and their courage. She had not expected to feel any interest herself, but something about Alara's presence stirred something within her. Alara approached slowly, keeping her movements calm and deliberate. "Princess Lyra," she said, her voice clear and steady. "It is an honor to meet you on behalf of humanity. I came to understand and to find common ground." She began with questions that seemed simple but each carried layers of meaning. "Why do humans expand into the stars?" she asked. "Is it curiosity, survival, or ambition? We hope to learn as much as we contribute. And humanity has learned that in times of crisis, courage can shape the future." Alara instinctively stood, scanning the area. "What is happening?" she asked, keeping her voice steady despite the sudden tension. Lyra's expression hardened. "An attack. A faction within the Empire rejects contact with humans. They have targeted the embassy. You must stay close to me." She had trained for emergencies, but nothing in her career prepared her for the immediacy of combat within a foreign palace. She noticed Lyra's own calm. The princess did not panic. Instead, she moved with purpose, signaling to guards and officials with precise gestures. The attackers arrived swiftly, their forms sleek and alien, blending agility with advanced weaponry. Alara ducked instinctively as a blast hit a nearby wall, sending shards of crystal flying. She realized then that diplomacy would not save them. Human courage and quick thinking were required. Alara grabbed a control panel, activating a defensive barrier that she had studied during her briefing. The shield shimmered into place just in time to deflect another strike. Lyra's guards fought with disciplined precision, but the attackers were relentless. Alara moved among them, directing personnel and civilians alike, her voice calm but commanding. For a moment, she caught Lyra's eye. The princess's usual composure softened, a flicker of surprise passing over her features. Humans could be brave, yes, but they could also inspire action, even in the most controlled environments. Alara's courage was not reckless. It was intelligent, decisive, and contagious. The battle raged for several tense minutes. Alara coordinated evacuations, reactivated defensive systems, and even manually intervened to prevent critical failures in the hall's protective measures. Every move she made was calculated, yet daring. Finally, the attackers, realizing they could not overcome the combined defenses, retreated, vanishing as suddenly as they had arrived. Silence fell over the hall. The crystal walls reflected the aftermath, broken shards and scorched surfaces showing the intensity of the attack. Lyra turned to Alara, her eyes wide with a mix of respect and disbelief. You acted without hesitation," Lyra said softly. "I did not expect a human to display such courage. You inspire something I did not know humans could inspire. It is remarkable." A human diplomat had not only survived the Velari court's subtle scrutiny, but had proven that courage, intelligence, and moral clarity could transcend species. The rest of the day passed in a blur of debriefings, medical checks for the wounded, and securing the embassy. Yet Alara could not shake the feeling that the encounter had changed something fundamental. Lyra's eyes lingered on her during every meeting, as if seeking proof that the courage displayed in crisis was not a singular occurrence, but a reflection of humanity itself. That evening, as Alara retired to her quarters, she allowed herself a moment to reflect. The Velari Empire was formidable, its people proud and wary, yet even here human courage had carved a place. Tomorrow, the real challenge would begin, navigating the subtleties of diplomacy while proving that humans could be trusted allies, not merely outsiders. But for tonight, she had earned something equally important, a recognition of humanity's spirit and the spark of respect from one of the galaxy's most remarkable beings. And somewhere in the palace, Princess Lyra Velari lingered in the Hall of Reflection, her thoughts unexpectedly occupied by the human diplomat who had defied expectations. A feeling she did not yet understand settled within her, a feeling that would shape her decisions and perhaps the future of the Velari Empire itself. Alara Quinn had arrived as a visitor, an ambassador. But in the eyes of Princess Lyra, she had already begun to change perceptions. And in the vast expanse of the galaxy, where fear often governed actions, such change was more powerful than any weapon. The morning after the attack was quiet, almost too quiet for the bustling city of the Velari Empire. The streets were filled with officials, guards, and citizens going about their routines, but a subtle tension lingered in the air. Alara Quinn moved through the palace corridors with purpose. Her encounter the previous day had earned her respect, but it had also drawn attention. The Velari were cautious, and the boldness she had displayed had not gone unnoticed. Princess Lyra had requested a private meeting before the council convened. Alara approached the Hall of Reflection once more, the crystal walls gleaming in the soft morning light. Lyra stood near the center, her posture as perfect and composed as always, yet there was a flicker of curiosity in her eyes. "Sit," Lyra said, her tone neutral. "I wish to speak with you before the council begins its deliberations." "You acted with courage yesterday," Lyra began. "I watched you. Most humans might have fled or hesitated. You did neither. You commanded without authority, yet no one questioned your actions. That is unusual. Act or risk the lives of those you are responsible for. How do you maintain such composure? Perhaps there is wisdom in your kind after all. You may leave." The council members observed Alara with polite curiosity, some with suspicion. They had seen humans before, but few had ever displayed the kind of composure and courage that Alara had shown. Whispers spread through the chamber, their voices hushed but filled with debate. Lyra raised a hand, signaling for silence. "We convene to discuss the recent attack and the presence of humans within our capital. This is a matter of great importance. The human diplomat, Alara Quinn, has demonstrated capabilities that merit our attention. They act without tradition or caution, and that has led to conflicts in other sectors. Why should we trust her? Our actions may seem unpredictable, but they are grounded in moral responsibility. Yesterday, my actions were not for personal gain, but to ensure the safety of your people and the embassy staff. That is the essence of humanity. We face challenges not for power, but for the well-being of others. Lyra observed silently, allowing Alara's words to settle. There was a pause before another elder spoke, this one younger and less formal. She shows courage, yes, but courage alone does not make a diplomat. How can we be certain she understands the subtleties of our politics? I may not understand every subtlety, but I understand the core of cooperation. Listening, respecting differences, and seeking solutions that benefit all parties. I am willing to learn, and more importantly, I am willing to act when necessary. Humanity's strength lies not just in technology or weapons, but in our ability to adapt, to empathize, and to unite diverse people in pursuit of a common goal. Alara observed the dynamics carefully, noting alliances, rivalries, and unspoken tensions. The Velari were disciplined and structured, but they were not immune to doubt and fear. Her presence, her courage, and her intelligence had shifted the balance. Humans were no longer outsiders to be watched warily. They had potential as partners. After the formal council adjourned, Lyra invited Alara to walk with her through the palace gardens. The gardens were vast, with trees that glowed faintly in the evening light and streams that reflected the colors of the sky above. It was a place of peace, designed to inspire reflection and clarity. "You handled yourself well today," Lyra said. "The council is divided, but your words carried weight. Some elders still doubt humans, but others are curious. You may have begun something important. Trust is earned, not demanded." "Thank you, Princess. That means a great deal. Humans and Velari have much to learn from each other. We are different, yes, but that difference can become our greatest strength if we approach it wisely. I wish to understand more about your people, your values, your ways of thinking. There is much that you may teach me." The princess's curiosity, her willingness to reconsider long-held beliefs, was a door that few humans had ever opened in this alien society. That evening, Alara returned to her quarters, mentally reviewing the day's events. She had navigated the council, demonstrated her principles, and earned a measure of trust from one of the most influential beings in the empire. But she knew the challenges were far from over. The Velari were proud, disciplined, and cautious. Earning their full trust would require patience, insight, and continued courage. Meanwhile, Lyra sat alone in her private chambers, reflecting on Alara's actions. She had expected humans to be impulsive, unpredictable, perhaps even reckless. Yet here was a human who acted decisively, wisely, and with moral clarity. Lyra found herself considering possibilities she had never entertained before. Could humans truly be partners, equals in strength and character? Could they inspire change in a civilization long set in its ways? The princess's thoughts lingered on Alara's courage, her intelligence, and her ability to navigate uncertainty. She realized that respect was forming where skepticism had once resided. And for the first time, Lyra felt that humans might not only be allies but something more, a source of inspiration for her people, a reflection of qualities the Velari had admired but seldom seen demonstrated in practice. As the stars glimmered above the Velari capital, both women contemplated the paths before them. One had arrived to represent humanity, armed with courage and insight. The other had begun to see humans in a light she had never expected, opening her mind to possibilities that could change the course of her empire. The journey was only beginning, and the galaxy held challenges and opportunities that neither could yet imagine. Alara had earned respect through action, wisdom, and courage. Lyra had begun to question assumptions long held by her people. Together, their paths were converging, setting the stage for a partnership that might shape not only the fate of their civilizations, but the future of interstellar relations. And in that quiet, reflective moment, both understood that the events of one day could ripple outward, changing perceptions, building trust, and inspiring courage far beyond the walls of the Velari palace. The calm of the Velari capital was deceptive. Beneath the elegant towers and glowing gardens, currents of unease began to stir. Reports arrived from distant sectors. A warlord from a neighboring system known only as Karis was amassing fleets and resources, intent on conquest. The Velari, disciplined and technologically advanced, were prepared for threats, but Karis's forces were ruthless, unpredictable, and adaptable. Intelligence suggested that no standard Velari tactic could easily overcome him. Alara Quinn received the news in the council chamber, sitting beside Princess Lyra as reports streamed in. The room was tense, voices hushed as the council processed the implications. Lyra's eyes were sharp, focused, yet there was an unusual flicker of uncertainty. The Velari prided themselves on control, on precision, yet Karis's unpredictability threatened to disrupt everything. Alara studied the data, analyzing fleet movements, supply lines, and potential weaknesses. She noticed patterns that others had overlooked. If Karis is relying on overwhelming speed and unconventional tactics, she said quietly, then predictability is his weakness. We need a strategy that is adaptable, that can change in real time as his moves evolve. Relying solely on rigid formations will only make him stronger. Velari leaders were trained to trust procedure and hierarchy, yet Lyra saw merit in Alara's reasoning. She turned to the elders. "Perhaps we underestimate humans," she said. "They may bring a perspective we have not considered." It was unusual, a human being given influence over strategy, but the princess's respect for her courage and insight had reached a level that defied protocol. Alara began analyzing the situation with the Velari commanders. The warlord's fleet was formidable, but predictable in its aggression. His strategy relied on overwhelming targets quickly, leaving minimal room for negotiation. Velari tactics were precise, efficient, and elegant, but Karis exploited gaps that were rare and fleeting. Alara suggested combining Velari precision with human adaptability. "Divide the fleet into flexible units," she explained. "Let each unit respond independently to the enemy's moves, but maintain communication. Use decoys and unexpected maneuvers to force Karis into mistakes. The goal is not just defense, but to turn his aggression against him." It was rare for a human to influence military decisions at this level, yet Lyra's confidence carried weight that even the most conservative elders could not ignore. Preparations began immediately. Alara coordinated simulations, adapting tactics, and training Velari soldiers to think flexibly while respecting their disciplined hierarchy. She worked alongside engineers, military strategists, and communications officers, bridging the gap between human improvisation and Velari precision. Days later, Karis's fleet arrived at the outskirts of Velari space. His ships were massive, sleek, and armed with devastating weapons designed to break formations quickly. The Velari fleet moved as expected, elegant and precise, but now interwoven with Alara's suggestions. Smaller independent units capable of rapid response, decoys to confuse the enemy, and flexible maneuvers to exploit weaknesses. The first encounter was intense. Karis attacked with ferocity, targeting Velari command vessels and supply lines. The initial assault threw many Velari units off balance. Yet, Alara's adaptations allowed smaller units to respond dynamically. Ships broke away from formation to intercept threats, while decoy ships drew the enemy into traps. Karis's confidence wavered as his predictions failed. Princess Lyra watched from the command platform, observing both the battlefield and Alara. Her respect deepened as she saw the human diplomat not just advising, but actively analyzing, predicting, and responding. Alara's calm focus inspired others. Velari units moved with renewed determination, their rigid discipline now enhanced by adaptive strategy. Alara noticed a critical moment. Karis was directing a concentrated strike toward the central command hub. "Deploy Units 3, 5, and 7 to intercept from the east," she instructed. "Use the smaller ships as bait to draw his assault away from the hub." Karis's fleet began to falter, confusion spreading among his commanders. But Alara's challenge was not over. During the battle, a strike breached part of the defense grid near the civilian sectors. Evacuations had begun, but time was limited. Alara realized that immediate action was required to prevent loss of life. She directed a team of Velari and human engineers to reroute power, reinforce shields, and evacuate civilians. Moving with efficiency and courage, she personally guided critical decisions, ensuring safety amidst chaos. Lyra observed her again, more closely this time. She had not expected humans to act with such clarity and bravery in the midst of combat. The princess's admiration was growing, not only for Alara's intellect but for her courage, her ability to inspire others, and her unwavering focus under pressure. As the battle raged, Karis's fleet began to retreat. His forces had underestimated the combination of Velari discipline and human adaptability. He had counted on rigidity and predictability. Instead, he found innovation, courage, and unity. The threat was not fully eliminated, but the tide had turned decisively. After the battle, the Velari capital buzzed with relief and cautious celebration. Citizens emerged from shelters, witnessing the resilience of their defenders and the unexpected strength of humanity. Alara moved through the city, ensuring communication between units, checking on wounded personnel, and supporting those affected by the attack. Lyra joined her on the observation platform, overlooking the recovering fleet. "You have done more than I anticipated," she said. "Not only did you provide strategy, but you also inspired people to act to overcome fear. Humans possess a courage that is remarkable. And sometimes, the unexpected perspective we bring can turn the tide in situations that seem hopeless." And the Velari have shown that precision, discipline, and dedication are equally powerful. Together, we can achieve what neither could alone. Your courage has changed more than the outcome of a battle. It has changed perceptions. Yet for the first time, she felt that humans were not merely visitors or negotiators in this alien world. They were partners, capable of shaping outcomes, inspiring courage, and earning respect across the galaxy. Lyra stood beside her, gazing at the same stars. She thought of the human who had defied expectations, who had faced danger with calm and determination. She realized that respect had deepened into something more profound, a recognition that humans, though different, possessed qualities the Velari had long admired but seldom seen demonstrated. Together, they stood silently, the quiet of the night a stark contrast to the chaos of the day. Yet within that silence was understanding. Courage, intelligence, and moral strength could bridge worlds, forge alliances, and shape the future. And in that moment, both women knew that the events of today were only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown challenges, and humanity had already begun to leave its mark. Alara Quinn had proven that bravery, combined with wisdom, could earn trust and respect even among the most disciplined and cautious of civilizations. Princess Lyra Velari had seen a glimpse of what humans could offer, not just as allies, but as partners capable of inspiring change. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. When courage and intelligence meet opportunity, even the most formidable threats can be overcome. And in the distance, beyond the stars and the galaxy's edge, Karis prepared for his next move, unaware that his greatest obstacle was not merely Velari weapons or strategy, but the indomitable courage of a human diplomat and the trust she had begun to earn in the heart of an alien princess. The Velari capital had barely recovered from the initial assault when fresh intelligence arrived. Karis was returning with reinforcements, his ambition undeterred, his fury unrelenting. The Velari Council convened urgently, the atmosphere tense and charged with worry. Even with the previous victory, the threat remained imminent. The alien warlord's unpredictability made him dangerous, and the Council feared that a direct confrontation could result in heavy casualties. Alara Quinn stood beside Princess Lyra, examining the latest reports. Ships were gathering near the border of Velari space, moving swiftly in formations designed to overwhelm. Standard Velari defenses could hold for a time, but their rigid tactics were vulnerable to rapid adaptation. "We need to act before he reaches the capital," Alara said, her voice calm but firm. "If we wait, we risk everything. But if we combine Velari precision with flexible tactics, we can force him into a disadvantage before he fully engages. The key is coordination, adaptability, and the courage to act decisively. We cannot hesitate." She divided fleets into smaller, mobile units capable of rapid response. Decoy ships were deployed to draw Karis into traps, and supply lines were reinforced with hidden routes. Every measure combined the best of human ingenuity and Velari discipline. When the enemy fleet arrived, it was vast and imposing. Karis's ships gleamed under distant stars, sleek, armed, and relentless. His fleet's size and aggression were intended to intimidate, but the combined forces of Velari and human strategy were ready. The battle began with a sudden, coordinated strike. Karis unleashed a barrage targeting the Velari front lines. The initial impact was intense, forcing several units into defensive positions. Alara acted quickly, directing smaller, flexible human Velari units to intercept flanking forces, while decoy ships drew enemy attention away from key command centers. Lyra watched closely, impressed by Alara's composure and decisiveness. The princess had seen courage before, but rarely in such combination with intelligence and strategic insight. Each move Alara suggested carried both risk and potential, and each proved effective in disrupting Karis's assault. Despite the chaos, Alara remained focused. Her voice, clear and commanding through the communication systems, guided units with precision. Unit 4, intercept the eastern flank. Units 6 and 7, support civilian evacuation corridors. Decoy, maintain formation and draw their attention south. Amid the battle, a critical situation arose near the civilian districts. A concentrated attack threatened the population, and time was running out. Alara directed a team of Velari engineers and human specialists to reinforce shields, reroute power, and evacuate civilians. She moved swiftly through the command center, ensuring coordination and inspiring confidence in everyone around her. Lyra followed closely, observing Alara's leadership. The princess realized that courage was not just about facing danger alone. It was about guiding others, making decisions that saved lives, and inspiring confidence when fear threatened to overwhelm. Alara exemplified all of these qualities, proving that humanity's strength lay not only in adaptability but also in moral courage. The battle continued for hours, each maneuver more tense than the last. Karis, realizing his plans were failing, attempted a desperate strike at the Velari command hub. Alara anticipated the move. "Divert fleet units 5 and 8 to intercept," she instructed. "Use the remaining decoys to distract their main force. Civilian corridors must remain clear." Karis's assault was fractured, his forces disoriented by the combination of precision and adaptability. The Velari command hub remained intact, and civilians were safe. Each victory, however small, shifted momentum toward the defenders. Lyra watched the human diplomat with growing admiration. "You have transformed our defense," she said quietly. "Not just through strategy, but through your courage and leadership. Your people have a spirit that inspires action. I did not expect this. Your people's discipline ensures precision. Our adaptability ensures survival. Together, we are stronger." The capital, though strained, remained secure, and the civilian population was safe. In the aftermath, The city buzzed with relief and gratitude. Citizens emerged from shelters, witnessing the resilience of their defenders and the courage of the human diplomat who had guided them. Ilara moved through the recovering fleet, checking on units, assisting engineers, and ensuring communication lines remained intact. Her presence inspired confidence and determination across the ranks. Lyra approached her on the observation platform, overlooking the recovering fleets. The stars glimmered above, a quiet contrast to the chaos that had just passed. "You have done more than I anticipated," Lyra said softly. "Your courage has inspired not only me, but all who witnessed it. Humans possess a bravery that is rare among any species. You have proven that courage combined with wisdom can achieve what might seem impossible. Action when it matters most is what shapes the future. Humans have survived challenges far greater than this by acting decisively and standing together. And today, your people have shown that strength and discipline, when combined with adaptability, can overcome even the greatest threats. Yet your actions demonstrate not only courage but intelligence and an ability to inspire unity. You have changed my perception of your people, and perhaps, by extension, the perception of all Velari. Tomorrow, we continue building on that foundation. Your courage has shifted more than the outcome of a battle. It has begun to reshape perceptions." Yet for the first time, she felt that humans were not merely visitors or negotiators in the Velari Empire. They were partners, capable of inspiring courage, earning trust, and shaping outcomes through ingenuity and moral strength. Lyra remained by her side, contemplating the human who had defied expectations. Ilara's courage, clarity, and decisiveness had left an impression deeper than mere respect. The princess understood that humans could inspire, challenge, and change long-held beliefs within her people. Together, they stood in quiet reflection, the night sky above them vast and unending. Within that stillness, understanding had been forged. Courage, intelligence, and moral clarity could bridge worlds, inspire trust, and shape the future. The galaxy remained full of challenges, but humanity had proven that even the most daunting threats could be met with resolve, adaptability, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. Ilara Quinn had not only defended the Velari capital, she had demonstrated that human courage, wisdom, and unity could inspire respect across civilizations. Princess Lyra Velari had witnessed firsthand the power of determination and moral clarity. The partnership between human and Velari was no longer theoretical. It had been tested under fire and proven stronger than anyone had imagined. As the city of the Velari capital glimmered beneath the starlit sky, both women understood that the events of today were only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of unforeseen challenges and opportunities. Yet one thing was certain: when courage met intelligence, and when determination was paired with adaptability, even the most formidable threats could be overcome. And somewhere, far beyond the boundaries of Velari space, Karis prepared for his next move, unaware that his greatest obstacle was not only the might of Velari's ships, but the indomitable courage and ingenuity of a human diplomat, and the trust she had begun to earn in the heart of an alien princess. The city of the Velari capital was still recovering from the recent attacks, but a sense of calm and determination had settled over its streets. Civilians walked freely again, repairs were underway, and the defensive fleets were replenished and reorganized. Yet, the shadow of Karis still lingered at the edge of known space, a reminder that vigilance was never optional. Ilara Quinn moved through the city with purpose, coordinating reconstruction efforts, and ensuring that communication lines between Velari and human operatives remained strong. Every action she took inspired confidence, not just because of her efficiency, but because of the courage and empathy she demonstrated. Where others might have delegated, she led by example, her presence reassuring both Velari soldiers and civilians alike. Princess Lyra watched from a high balcony overlooking the city. Her thoughts were focused not on the damage or the threat of Karis, but on the human who had changed everything. Alara's courage had not only saved lives, it had shifted perceptions, challenged assumptions, and begun to build a bridge between two civilizations that had once regarded each other with suspicion. Lyra descended to meet Alara in the palace gardens, where the soft glow of bioluminescent trees illuminated the paths. "You have done more than any human diplomat has done in the history of our interactions," Lyra said quietly. "Your courage, intelligence, and unwavering focus have earned not only my respect, but the respect of my people. They are beginning to see humans in a new light. We rely on our strengths and the trust we can build with others. Yesterday's victory was possible because Velari soldiers trusted us as allies, and we trusted them in return. That is the power of cooperation. You have shown that trust can be earned, that differences can become strengths rather than obstacles. This is something that may define the future of our empire." Trade agreements, military cooperation, and joint exploration initiatives were proposed, signaling the start of a partnership that could alter the course of the galaxy. Alara received the news with quiet satisfaction. "This is only the beginning," she said. "Trust is fragile, and alliances must be nurtured. But today, we have proven that humans and Velari together can face challenges, adapt to unforeseen dangers, and protect what we value." Trade resumed, reconstruction accelerated, and joint patrols ensured that Karis's forces could not return unchallenged. Alara continued to work closely with Lyra, offering guidance, learning the intricacies of Velari society, and demonstrating that humans could contribute in ways that went beyond mere diplomacy. One evening, as the sun set over the crystalline towers of the capital, Lyra invited Alara to a private observation platform overlooking the fleet. Ships moved with precision, yet with flexibility, a visible testament to the combined strength of Velari discipline and human ingenuity. "You have inspired more than respect," Lyra said softly. "You have inspired hope. Even in the face of danger, your courage and leadership have reminded us of what is possible when we act with integrity and determination. We act, adapt, and strive to protect those around us. That is the essence of our courage. You have earned a place in the history of the Velari Empire. Karis remains a threat, and the galaxy is vast and unpredictable. But with humans as allies, I believe my people can face challenges we never could alone. And with your courage guiding our cooperation, we may achieve what was once impossible." Joint training exercises were held, combining Velari precision with human adaptability. Trade networks expanded, ensuring resources and knowledge flowed freely between worlds. Cultural exchanges allowed Velari citizens to witness human ingenuity, creativity, and resilience firsthand. During one of these sessions, Lyra approached Alara with a proposal. "I wish to formalize your role not just as a diplomat, but as a partner in guiding our civilizations together. Your courage and insight have shown us what humans can offer. It is time that the Velari acknowledge it fully. My goal has always been to foster understanding, to build trust, and to demonstrate the best of humanity. If my actions can help shape a stronger future for both our peoples, then I accept." They were respected partners, valued for their courage, insight, and capacity to inspire. The alliance between Velari and humans became a symbol of what could be achieved when differences were embraced and strengths were combined. Lyra and Alara continued to work closely, guiding joint initiatives and preparing for the eventual return of Karis. The princess had come to rely not only on Alara's strategies, but also on her judgment, her moral clarity, and the courage she displayed in every situation. Together, they represented a new era of cooperation, one built on respect, trust, and shared purpose. One evening, as the twin moons of the Velari capital rose in the sky, Lyra invited Alara to walk among the restored gardens. The soft light reflected on the crystalline streams, creating a serene and almost magical atmosphere. "You have changed much in a short time," Lyra said. "Not only in the hearts of my people, but in the very way we perceive strength, courage, and partnership. I did not expect a human to leave such an impact. Then let us continue to act, to inspire, and to build a future where our peoples stand together. You have shown me what is possible, Alara Quinn, and for that I am grateful." Humanity's courage had earned the respect of an entire civilization. The Velari had witnessed that courage firsthand, and their perceptions had changed forever. In the distance, beyond the edge of the galaxy, Karas's shadow remained, a reminder that vigilance and courage would always be needed. Yet the human diplomat had proven that fear could be met with clarity, unpredictability could be met with strategy, and courage could inspire hope. Alara Quinn had arrived as a visitor, a representative of humanity, and a diplomat seeking understanding. She had become a symbol of human resilience, ingenuity, and moral strength. Princess Lyra Velari had come to recognize the power of courage, not only as a weapon, but as a force that could inspire, unite, and transform civilizations. The alliance between human and Velari was now stronger than ever. Trade, diplomacy, and mutual respect flourished. The citizens of both civilizations looked to the future with hope, knowing that courage, wisdom, and cooperation could overcome even the greatest challenges. And as Alara and Lyra stood together under the twin moons, they knew that the galaxy was vast and unpredictable, full of dangers yet to come. But they also knew that courage, true, steadfast, and morally guided courage, could bridge the gap between worlds. It could turn fear into determination, doubt into trust, and uncertainty into triumph. In that moment, two civilizations had come together not merely as allies, but as partners bound by mutual respect and the shared recognition that courage, intelligence, and moral strength were the greatest weapons of all. The galaxy had witnessed the power of humanity, and in doing so, it had begun to embrace a new era of hope, collaboration, and possibility. Alara Quinn had proven that one human, guided by courage and purpose, could inspire change beyond imagination. Princess Lyra Velari had learned that perception could be altered, that admiration could be earned, and that the bonds between species could be forged through respect and shared experience. Together, they stood ready for the future, confident that when humanity's courage met Velari discipline, nothing, not even the shadows of distant warlords, could shake the foundation they had built. The stars above were infinite, the challenges countless, yet the spirit of courage had illuminated a path forward. And so, the galaxy began a new chapter, one where humans were no longer strangers, where courage and integrity shaped alliances, and where hope endured beyond fear. The story of Alara Quinn and Princess Lyra Velari became a legend, a reminder that courage could inspire, unite, and transform, and that humanity's spirit could shine brighter than any star.